Welcome to the Industry Boring Podcast. I'm Cullen Raichart, your host, and today we'll be covering almost anything related to cannabis.
Do you have a little recording studio in progress?
We should.
Outside,
we need a little light. Yeah.
A little light on.
So welcome to the show, everyone. Today I'm hanging out with Dave. Last name, how do you spell it?
It's Charnick.
Charnick.
And I am the co-host of the Adam Dunn Show. I play Ed McMahon to his Johnny Carson.
It's a wonderful duo.
See? You see how I jumped right into character right there?
Perfect. Yeah. I couldn't ask for anything better.
Adam, you're so funny, Cullen. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm going to have to figure out how to cue that up, right?
It gets me on the radio once a week, and I get to babble about cannabis and get paid for it when all I did was babble about it for 30 some odd years beforehand. Right. And
no one paid you anything for it.
Well, they threatened to take my money from me, but no one ever walked up to me and said, by the way, that was really interesting thing you said.
Yeah.
I'm going to really change the way I see this industry right now because I get it. And by the way, here's a check.
Yeah.
No, that's that never really happened. But let's start off with what I've been doing on the show, on the Adam Dunn Show, and I think it should be done in every conversation, is that before you start the progress, let's remember that there are still people rotting away in jail that were arrested during Bill Clinton's presidency. And I say it a lot, and some of the fans of the Adam Dunn Show might call me a broken record, but it needs to be said.
Sure.
Because people are now, they're taking companies public.
Yeah.
Truleave,
traded on the stock exchange.
The stock exchange. Truleave is opening a dispensary.
Yeah.
Ready? Every Friday.
Jeez.
Okay, every Friday. So what does it cost to open up one business once? They're going to do 52 in the next year.
Yeah.
So money's being made.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling out Truleave for doing anything bad.
Sure.
They're a fantastic company.
Yeah.
But why are the prisons still closed? Why are there still our brethren rotting in jail over a plant that I am smoking right now in an enclosed room right now? It's
crazy. I think about that. My history and what we grew up with and experienced. And the illegality, and then of course the transition to quasi-legal to now 90% legal. Well, it's not even 90 yet. We've got a couple of lazy states coming. It's the feds are slacking, but I agree with you. I don't understand it, especially when you're talking about nonviolent, offenders that are just incarcerated for, what would it be a non-offense today? A non-offense
nothing,
today.
And it wouldn't even warrant the wasting of the ink on the ticket book right now. Yeah. It is absolutely irrelevant to furthering society. In fact, it's a hindrance to furthering our society by criminalizing this plant. I mean, I got made fun of on Friday because I was telling a story about how I was in Washington Square Park because we were talking about New York's legalization in 1991. I was a stupid kid. I'm 21 years old, and there was no grass to be found, and I was pissed. But there was hash.
Yeah.
But I didn't. It didn't. Oh, he's all right. I guess so.
Yeah.
But it was. Like blonde Lebanese hash. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was, you can tell it came from Golden Seal. It was in that wafer and it was cut perfect. Yeah. And I want to say like 15 grams, all individually packaged.
Yeah.
The 15 felonies is how I should have described it.
15 separate felonies.
In 1991. Okay?
You would be still in jail right now, Dave.
I would. And even stupider,
yeah.
I didn't change the tag for the inspection registration in New York. And it's not, now they put them on the license plate, real easy to see. New York, you had a little sticker right on the driver's side. And it just had a little hole punch, that you couldn't change. And it came in the mail. I was lazy. Maybe I changed mine in the winter and didn't want to get out of the car. But what did I do?
Right.
Stuck it in the glove box. Forgot about it.
Yeah.
So now I've got this 15 grams of hash, and this is where I got made fun of.
In the glove box?
No, in my fanny pack. And I said that out loud.
Oh, my God.
And everyone's like, of course Dave uses a fanny pack.
pack.
It was 1991.
Everybody had a freaking fanny pack.
Everybody. Some had more than one, you know?
Yeah.
So it's 1991. And it gets even stupider. Because where's my driver's license?
Oh, in the glove box.
No.
Oh,
with
in the
the
fanny
hash.
pack. In the hash.
With
yes,
the hash.
of course. Right. Sorry.
With the hash.
How stupid of me.
So I realize what's happening right now. I stopped to pay the Midtown Tunnel toll, and there was a cop standing there who saw I had the expired registration, who steps out and says, "Pull over there, son."
Oh, my.
So I literally have maybe 4 seconds where he can't see my hands as I'm pulling over. So as I'm pulling over, one hand unzips my fanny pack, reaches in, grabs my license, zips it back up, and pulls my shirt over so that he can't really see that I'm wearing it unless he has me step out of the car.
Yeah.
But by then, I know I'm in fucking trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble then.
So
Right.
I'm playing dumb, you know. I says, "Is there anything I can help you with, officer?" He says, "You got this expired registration here, license and registration, license, proof of insurance." So I give him my proof of insurance, and stupid number 3, I ripped my driver's license a few weeks prior. So I laminated it, which completely invalidated it.
Yeah, completely done.
Totally done. So now I'm 21,
Yeah.
15 grams of hash, expired registration,
Nice.
technically no valid driver's license,
Yeah.
and I have a fanny pack.
Yeah.
How fucked am I?
You're in trouble.
And I played dumb again. So now he says, "This is what you got?" And he throws it back at me. I'm like, fuck, this is it. This is
done.
This
I'm
is
done.
that time, right? My last moment.
What am I going to do with my last 30?
And he goes, "This registration is expired." And I said, "Oh, wait." And I got all surprised. You know, I'm overacting. I said, "It's right here." And I undid my glove box, let the thing fall out, and I pulled it out, and I said, "Here it goes." And you can tell the guy was just like disappointed.
Yeah, he was just all kinds of upset that
He was just
wasn't
like,
going to ring you up.
You know, if you were my kid, I'd probably take you to the woodshed right now. But, you know, and he shakes his head.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Get the fuck out of here." And, oh my gosh, I drove away from that.
Yeah.
Drove away. So I say, we cannot forget.
Yeah.
If I came that close, everybody did, because I'm the biggest pussy when it comes to anything like that. I don't want to put myself in a position where I can lose my freedoms. So if I came that close, everybody did, and some went past.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the cuffs came out, and they're still suffering.
Yeah.
And I feel this plant has changed my life.
Yeah.
In so many positive ways, that to ever go a moment and just ignore the fact that there was a kid, 21, in 1991, who he probably didn't look like me. You know, we'll get into the whole racist side of cannabis enforcement. Still in jail.
Yeah.
Still in jail
absolutely.
for just being stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, what would have happened right there at that moment? I had some hash.
Yeah.
No one, it's not like I was loading it into a hash needle and going to take it to the park. You know, I wasn't going to, I was watching a cartoon and it said, they tricked the cartoon dad into thinking it was cold medicine, but it was really crack. And it was making him feel better. And he goes, "No, this is, first one's free." And then I remember, that's what my mom used to tell me. If anybody tries to give you something for free, it's probably drugs, because they want you hooked. And
right away, instant hook.
And that's not the way with cannabis.
Yeah.
But yet, the crime, the charge, the sentence you catch is not appropriate.
I mean, the scheduling is absolutely moronic, to be honest with you. That whole deal. If you think about it, and that's probably buried in some racial issues as well. If you look back at the history.
Oh, I don't think it's buried. I think it's blatant. It's right on the cover. This is how you arrest more black and brown people.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Well, I mean, I think that's why they started being so anti-cannabis in the beginning. But I mean, it's an interesting thing. I never thought of it. I've been around it my whole life. When I was a kid, my aunt, my uncle, and a lot of people that I knew. As a kid, I was never into it. In high school, it took me to high school to get caught on. But just it was always around. It wasn't like it was any major deal, But there was always some negativity or negative connotation to it, which is for the most part gone. I think even when I started this business, because I'm an equipment guy, so we don't dabble in the growing or distribution or anything else. I make machines for the most part.
Well, you make the industry better. What was that commercial where it said, "We don't make the products"?
BASF.
Yes, you're the BASF of the cannabis space. There are millions of stoners out there who don't realize they're thanking you when they can reach into their bag and they don't have to pull off what they don't want to smoke because it already got taken off back in processing.
That's right.
So that I'll give you a thank you. We'll call it 3 million thank yous all together. Everybody who rolled a joint this morning, they all click thank you, right? That's
perfect.
That's the way it is.
Feels great. I like to have a thank you every once in a while.
You're welcome.
But I find the whole thing really fascinating because I think I actually had this conversation with Ed Rosenthal. We were talking about this earlier, but
hi Ed.
Yeah, hey Ed. I had this conversation with Ed, and I was just like, dude, I gotta thank you, man. Because you suffered and went through all the hardship, and literally the war, if you will. By the time I got really involved, I grew cannabis. I don't know, with the Phototron 20 years ago. But when I really got involved in the industry was around equipment. I had grown before that, but getting involved in the equipment space of it, like this didn't exist. This wouldn't be here. Like I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have this lifestyle. Wouldn't have this company. We're not huge, but we're doing okay. We're in fucking 30.
Oh, those of you in radio land, don't let Cullen fool you. His company is banging right now, and you'll see them all over the if you're not seeing them now all over the industry, trust me, you will.
Yeah, thank you.
And it will be scaled as the industry grows. And no, I enjoyed the tour you gave me here.
Yeah, thank you.
I wasn't surprised,
but I love it. This is what I geek out on, right? So just I'm happy talking about that because that's what I'm passionate about and showing it off because I'm very proud of it and I do really enjoy it. But having the industry and to be here and for me to be enjoying the lifestyle that I'm able to enjoy because of it and to think just like we started, just to think like there are people who made the mistakes that I made because I made those same mistakes and I got in trouble a couple of times and I know for a fact that I'm just fortunate, right? I'm just one of the lucky ones that had somebody else out helping me out to get out of some of the stuff that I got in trouble with. Otherwise, I could be in that same spot. Mm-hmm. And I actually have people that I know that weren't as lucky. Right. But I just think that the system is lacking.
Well, the Adam Dunn Show has its bread and butter was the breeding industry.
Yeah.
So Adam, was with Sensi Seeds back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Founded TH Seeds, now Sage Master Seeds. So we've had all the breeders on.
Yeah.
And there's a common discussion point that will always come up in that the gassier the grass you grew is directly proportionate to your chances of getting busted.
Yeah.
People who grew shit weed, they didn't know. They didn't go to Con Edison and pull your records back then. They went, what the hell is that? Or your neighbor did something stupid, got drunk, and they happened to be standing outside the door, and they went, oh, there's a grow on this floor. Or they didn't use that term in New York. They said there's some Woodstock around here. Yeah. Then everybody knew. So it's the gassier it grew, the more chances you had to be busted. And we talked about, this is going back to the 90s, that anyone who grew sour diesel back then, you were taking a risk. You probably had 10 houses because you couldn't have one.
No.
The statistics were at least one was going to get got.
Yeah.
And you didn't, you just.
Yeah. It's funny. I that's what I started. When I grew, what I grew was SD. And I loved it. It was one of the most, it's an amazing plant. Loved it. Very used to it. Just loved the whole pungentness of it. And just like that it's overwhelming, kind of crushing face when you stick your nose in the bag of sour diesel and you go, oh yeah, that's the one. I do remember that well.
I was very fortunate coming up, as a kid in that the first real canna place I visited, I didn't realize I was going to, like the cannabis Jerusalem.
Yeah.
I was going to visit my aunt and uncle who lived in Petrolia, California in northern Humboldt.
Oh, shit.
And it was a town of 86 people, I want to say, spread out over like 15 square miles. So there was you could go days without seeing anyone. Yeah. Like the general store was the general store, the post office, the county seat, the only place that had a gas station, one pump, and you were nowhere. I think it took, it's been a long time, but like 2.5 hour drive from Eureka's airport, which is a tiny airport
it's a little,
on California standards.
Yeah.
And 13 years old, going horseback riding with the neighbor kids on the Matole River, when they just, it was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
I didn't know what to do. I was 13. I think I Clintoned it. I think I was so afraid to say, I kind of was wishing somebody would just, was there a 17-year-old there that could just take me under his wing for a second?
Give you a little bit of
be the older brother. Yeah. Go, hey, kid, I know you're from New York City, and you probably never saw anything like this before because they probably call this drugs out there, right? And your parents are telling you, don't smoke the drugs, but I didn't. But that was and I remember the smell. And I talk about this also when I laugh, that Northern California musk, that it never goes away.
No.
And we'll go to, shows in California. We'll go to Emerald Cup and all this. Yeah. And I'll say, show me your best nose. And they look at me like, what? Don't you want to know the THC content? I said, no, no. If you're bringing one strain to Thanksgiving, what are you bringing? Yeah. Show it to me. And I haven't, it's like that. I'm chasing the motherfucking dragon here. Okay. I want that again. Yeah. The closest differentiator where I went, oh man, I could smoke this forever, is grown by one kid. And his dad was like the keeper of the strain.
Of the knowledge.
It's called Colorado Cough.
Huh.
And it's kind of like, Adam brought this up. It's kind of like an insult if somebody says, hey, smell the herb I just grew. Yeah. And you go, smells kind of jacky. And you go, you don't realize you don't do that. That's like throwing down. You don't want to say that. It's like telling somebody they're wearing last year's fashion. You just don't do it. But this Colorado Cough, it's like a different branch of the cannabis genome that broke off a long time ago. And there is no, I think that's cough. No, think and cough don't go together. It is or it isn't. There is no middle strain. And I think I'm days away from him harvesting, and I haven't had it in 5 years.
Wow.
Well, again, because people have different problems with this plant, and unfortunately, people get, bumps in the road. And so when he wrote to me, and I said, I won't say his name. I said, is it really you?
Is this really you?
He says, yeah. I said, well, then tell me where we first met.
Oh, shit.
Because, well, it's a tangent story that we'd talk for another 45 minutes, but, as a deadhead, and growing up with the Grateful Dead, coming into my own, when Jerry passed, it broke me. I didn't listen to tapes. I didn't. And then, when I met this guy, I walked in with my 6-year-old son wearing a Phil and Friends tie-dye shirt in 2000.
Wow.
At Herb's Meat in Boulder. And Herb's had the same font as Herb's from the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
Okay? And we walk in, and they're all wearing tie-dyes, not like white butcher stuff.
Yeah.
And Joan and I, my son, walk up to the counter, and the guy goes, oh, you guys are deadheads, huh? And my son goes, yeah! I'm like, oh, parenting win.
Yeah.
And he says, have you guys seen Dark Star Orchestra? I said, who? They said they're a Grateful Dead cover band that recreate Grateful Dead shows note for note.
Whoa,
I'm like, what?
No
note for note? Well, listen, they don't do note for note. They do show for show. So song for song, down to the placement of where they stood based on the year of the show.
Really?
So Jerry's here. Jerry stood to the left of Bobby. All the Phil's over in the Phil zone. They did that accurately, okay?
Wow.
And
that takes some work.
Any deadheads listening out now, or in Radio Land, who want to experience, I'm not taking anything away from Dead and Company.
Yeah.
Okay, I know John Mayer makes everybody just weepy, but if you want to experience, like if I had to tell someone, how do you describe what a Grateful Dead show was like back in the day with Jerry? I don't have the words, but I can say, go see DSO play a festival somewhere out where there's camping and it's relaxed and there's vending, and you will see like Grateful Dead light. Yeah. You know, and it's something. So when he was able to say, yeah, I told you about Dark Star Orchestra, I'm like, yes, when can we meet? So he's like, 44 days. So that's next week. So I'm excited.
Well, congratulations.
For that. Thank you.
I think that's actually, I lost the strain, the one strain that I did, one thing that I grew, I lost it, and I've never seen anything like it. And everything else, well, this is sour deal, it's not the same thing, man. I know exactly what it was, and so I get that kind of attachment thing, because it just was, to me, it was, it was it. It was the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is, the irony is that I'd probably find it, and I'd like it, but I'd still go to what the current popular ones right now, because they're just... the terpene structures right now, how, everything's mixed with runts right now or cookies right now. But in Boulder, there's a small company called 14er Holistics. Yeah. And I've been shopping there forever. They have a strain called The Truth, which goes back to like Jamaican landrace days.
Really?
And I said to the owner one day, I said, you should call it the Truth Project and start crossing the truth with all my favorite strains. And he says, what should we cross them with? I'm like, come on. Let's just do the Truth with Deadhead OG, Truth with Tropicana. So they crossed the Truth with Deadhead OG, which is a Jamaican Deadhead cross. And in Colorado, when you want to sell something, it has to be put into their tracking system. So it has to have a name. Yeah. Sometimes these decisions are just knee-jerk.
Right.
Deadhead Jamaican Cross, DJC. That's what they entered. Okay? My son works there. Yeah. He's walking past a big bag of flour that says DJC. Well, it happens to be my initials.
Yeah.
And Jonah says to Evan, the owner, why are my dad's initials on this strain? And it was like light bulbs went off. Evan, he said, he goes, it doesn't matter. We're calling it your dad's strain. It's going to be DJC. We're going to name it after him.
Nice.
Now, I didn't know the joke that it was a Deadhead Jamaican Cross till like 7 months later. It had been on the shelves. But they put my face on a can of weed.
Nice.
So if you go to 14erboulder.com, 14ER Boulder, you can see what they're doing there. I mean, it's cutting edge rosin. They use the rosin press. You guys have. They are just disruptive to the space. Yeah. Companies that get $600-$700, and we know who they are, we won't name them, per pound wholesale. 14 is $2,500 plus. Yeah. They're still getting $250 an ounce retail. Yeah. It's the connoisseurs cannabis. So if you're in Boulder, that's my plug for them. I'm spoiled, so I wish I could say, for anybody here in Las Vegas, this is where you need to go. But
I'll tell you, if you do get to Las Vegas, you got to go see Fleur.
Which is it?
It's Fleur.
Fleur.
Fleur. Yeah, it's a French flower. But these guys, man, they are by far, their edible kitchen, stunning.
Better than Coda?
Coda makes... This is pretty premier stuff, man. I put it up against anybody.
All right.
This is like...
it's a great recommendation if it's coming from you. I will try them.
Well, I can't tell you the chef because I'm not sure I have the permissions, but a famous chef who put the recipes together, and they do something really interesting.
Is it Tony Luke? No. Is it steak sandwiches? No.
No.
Okay. No. Gordon Ramsay?
I can't go into it.
Oh, shit.
But the thing
Sean George?
Yeah. Okay. See, that ain't going to try and get me in trouble. I get it. It's okay.
Morimoto-san! Come on.
Anyway, what I find really interesting about them is they do... first of all, their grow is... I had Evan Evan Martyr on one of the shows, but he talked about their grow, and they grow in these big. I don't know why I'm segueing. I'm going to tell you anyway though. There's these big like flower pots. It's a whatever 3 foot, 2 foot deep, and they just plant in it, and they don't fertilize, and they just let everything go back.
Living soil.
It's completely.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. Like I have not seen that kind of production out of that methodology, because usually these guys are over pumping the nitrogens, blah blah blah. But the really really beautiful. But the point is that they do butter. Back to the edible thing. They do butter the way you've always done butter. They take they trim and they put it in butter, right. And then they cook out the THC, right. And then they use that to cook with. Novel concept, right. But it's magical. I mean, it's just like some things shouldn't be fucked with, and they shouldn't be changed. You know what I mean? And when you have something going good like that, and so that I'd recommend them. I don't know about their flower. It looks beautiful, and I don't know what the strains they are, but I tell you what, put them on the edible list for sure. And a classy operation. Really nice guys.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That butter is, listen, that's, if we all roll the tape back, right? There's going to be one thing that made us all go, maybe there's more to this than just smoking a joint and getting high here for a second. Yeah. And I think for, at least for me, it was the first time somebody I dearly loved said they had cancer. Oh. And so this is 1994. Yeah. Pregnant with my son Jonah. We didn't know he was Jonah at the time, you know. And Doug tells me he has months to live and not going to make it. And I wasn't okay with that. I snuck in. I was living in Eugene at the time. I snuck into the bookstore there. I looked like a student. I wasn't. Yeah. And I just, I'm going to state myself. There's a card catalog for all of you out there who know what a card catalog is.
Yeah. And if you don't, it's okay.
Yeah. Google it.
Yeah.
I looked up. I really thought that when I pulled a card out that said cannabis on it, that it was, lights were people were gonna come down and you read a book. And the only thing I could really find to remember, it was on supercritical fluid extraction. In my defense, I understood nothing of it. Nothing, okay? And I didn't read the whole thing. I'm skimming through it. I'm trying to pick stuff up. But in the footnotes, something said fat lipid transfer cited by, and it listed another book. And I'm like, fat lipid transfer? And I looked that up. And then I could see that maybe, what is this about decarboxylation? Yeah. It's 1994. I didn't know I couldn't even spell it. But in my head, I could see that if I just put it in water, then the water would never get above boiling. Yeah. And I would regulate it, and I can decarboxylate it in a rolling butter in water. So I put pounds of butter into rolling boiling water, dumped the weed in. Now, by weight, mind you. I had no idea of THC kind
of course not.
People would ask me back then, are they strong? I go, these are mid-grade. Yeah. What the hell I didn't know. No. But I just made him brownies. And I went to Costco, Ghirardelli brownie mix, and he lived for 9 years. Wow. Okay, now I'm not saying it was the brownies, but his oncologist did say he was the only patient that gained weight over the course of chemo treatments. Oh. So
that's the brownies.
Yeah. I'm just saying he ate, he was able to keep his weight up, and he didn't suffer from wasting. And the cancer didn't, I guess, take hold, and he beat it. I mean, he was in his 70s, so the likelihood of a success was slim. Yeah. And I made brownies up until the day Colorado dispensaries started opening up in 2009. And then I said, I feel like I don't have to do this anymore. Yeah. And that was sort of the full circle for me in going, you know what, there's going to be more here than that. I mean, I'm on record at a conference in like 2012 saying that by 2015, edibles will make up 50% of the marketplace. And people laughed at me. Yeah. They were like, what are you talking? No way. Yeah. They're 5% of the market today. Well, Incredibles proved them all wrong. They made sure there was a medicated chocolate bar on every dispensary shelf. And now, I mean, someone correct, but I think there's more concentrate sales than flower. And I include, hashes and things like that because, listen, it's science.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as a machine guy, to see that part of the industry. I mean, I started with dry sift. That was a machine I built first, and I was like, oh, this is because actually the guy that wanted me to build the machine for him was a Lebanese blonde hash guy, and he's just like, I want to have that hash. Yeah. That was that kind of like, oh, this is this level. But at the time when I brought that machine out, people were doing butane, and it was like, that's not even comparable. This is a completely different ball game.
Right.
And so, and I wasn't going to get into the, AMSC certified pressure vessel container.
Why not? Because the first extraction labs I walked into in 2011, 2012 were bomb factories. Yeah. Are you kidding? I walked in with some New York guys that really didn't want to get their shoes dirty. Yeah. We're still wearing ties at going to the extraction lab. And we walked in, and I saw these open plates of boiling off butane that were uncovered. And I said, guys, didn't you forget something in the car? Yeah. And they said, what? No, we didn't. I said, you forgot something in the car. Can I talk to you out there for a second? And we never went back in.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Brooks. I won't say his last name. I shouldn't probably even say his first name. But he is like patient under 10 in Colorado. Yeah. Blew up because he was doing a butane extraction on a plastic table. Okay, so there's that.
It was insane. Listen, I had a friend that he didn't blow up, but I watched him do it, and I can't even believe it. And I made a little butane extractor myself, and I was like, oh, whatever. And I was going to do it in the house, and I put a little butane. And I went, no, outside. Oh my gosh, man! You
made it further than I did. I made the tube.
Yeah.
I drilled, put the cap on. I drilled the thing to the diameter of the butane thing, and I went so far as to buy the butane, and I went, no fucking way! I am not doing this. And then a few years later, we have legal industry in Colorado, and hotels all over the state are blowing up.
Literally, blowing up.
There's one from Boulder, the Boulderado, like right near this like a dive burger joint we like to eat at. They had a helicopter flying over. They blew the side of the building off. Again, no, we don't need any of that. And I think, I'll segue back and give you a plug here, because when you talked about Living Soil, all I thought is you just want me to mention Build a Soil, right? Because they're one of our main sponsors. Yeah. And Living Soil is Jeremy's,
passion.
Oh, yeah. And now, so there's another one of our sponsors, JW at Green Farms Med. He hasn't amended his soil in 5 years.
Yeah, isn't that stunning?
5 years.
That just blows my mind.
I think this is it right here, by the way.
Yeah.
So, no, I bought this here locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm saying.
It's just amazing. To me, that whole... So I grew up kind of hippie a little bit, going to Rainbow Groceries and buying organics. My parents were all into that shit. And so
we don't have the same parents, do we?
Probably pretty close.
Did they call it the health food store?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So,
we might be related. Yeah. Brother, holy shit. We'll do the 23andMe.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
Find out. But so, I'm not, I'm completely, ingrained in my consciousness as a child. So to see a guy, like a company like that go, all out in that vein and go, they're not just doing this for this reason. It's not just a conscious decision. They're making money. Like, they're making money doing this. It's beyond that. Like, oh, I'm going to be hippy dippy, tree hugging, whatever. It's like, no, this is actually a legitimate way to do this and do it well and be financially fit.
You ever read the book, Do What You Love, The Money Will Follow?
I believe that, but I have not read the book.
That's what I was going to say. I never read the book. I read the title, and that's all I needed to know. Yeah. In fact, it's never worked out for me trying to follow the dollar. Yeah. I have to follow my passion. Yeah. And when I roll my own tape back to 1989 as a student at Syracuse University, my fraternity brothers did one of those, like, Animal House dark room where they're all, staring at you. They put you on the hot seat. And they're like, Dave, we're a little worried. I said, what are you worried about? He said, what are you going to fucking do if pot doesn't become legal? And I looked at them all and I said, I have nothing to worry about. It's going to be legal. Wow. And you know what?
Crazy.
I was right.
He was right.
It took 30 years longer than that time, but I was fucking right.
He was right.
And who's called me in the past 7 years? Every one of them.
Yeah, is that right?
Every one of them.
You were right, Dave.
You know,
I'm making all this money on these pot stocks, man.
I wish I know that again. I feel like the mission right now is to talk about it enough. We'll all rise the industry together.
Yeah.
We'll all get paid a fair wage for our talents.
Yeah.
You know, you in particular of what you've created here, you talk about the safety. No one's going to fucking blow up running any of your equipment.
That's not how that works. That's right.
That you can't say that about everybody, you know. What our industry won't even deliver fucking vape cartridges anymore because it could be poison in it, and the Postal Service won't deliver the cartridge because morons don't know how to build them right, and they keep catching fire on planes. So we have a lot of work to be done. Anyone who's out there thinking that I missed the boat, you didn't miss anything. Maybe we
just got started. You know, and I think that's what's so amazing to me is when I look at the industry, like we talked about earlier, I think, and of course off the show, but the reality of it is, like you said, second inning. I mean, we just got started. Like
I might say maybe because of what's happening right now with the Biden administration, although we'll get into the whole Democrats versus Republican. Democrats are not good for cannabis. Don't let anybody kid you.
They are.
You know, don't let anybody kid you. I didn't like the last 4 years. I did not like the last 4 years, okay? I'm outing myself, but cannabis speaking, oh my goodness. COVID was fantastic for cannabis. It gave us the 10 years of trying to convince people we were essential. Happened overnight.
Yeah, that was wonderful. And I think, you know, for us, because I mean, you know, I remember when it happened. Obviously, everybody does, but I was like, oh shit, you know, what am I going to do? We're a manufacturing company. We're not, you know, small. We have 50 people, families. Everybody's dependent on us. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to handle this? And they're like, oh, manufacturing is essential and cannabis is essential. I'm like, double. I'm in.
And get ready for banking. You're going to have access to the free market soon. You'll have access to Raise. You'll be able to go to pitch fests where the people throwing the events are not charging a cannabis vig to everyone to show up.
I got stories about that shit, man. That's how I started. And actually, I'm very fortunate. I found a gentleman that invested, and it was meager. I mean, it was just a small investment, but it was what we needed to get started. $150,000, not a big deal. But I mean, at that time, people still think equipment is not sexy, and I just say, you got to see our shit, man. Our shit's sexy.
But, I'm telling you, I saw his shit. Cullen dropped his skirt for me, and I'm telling you, I saw his shit. It's sexy.
Yeah. But investment wise, everybody's been all happening about grow. And I've seen so many guys spend all that money and drop out because of exactly what's happening. You know, as the industry grows and shakes, the people who have their shit in one sock, if you will, they make it. You know, and then the guys who are treating it like a business, they make it. And the guys who are passionate and learn how to do the business side, they make it. All the other guys, you know, bad business people, they're not gonna make it. You know, guys who are just growing wheat because they're gonna score on wheat, they're not gonna make it. You know, that it's shaking it out, man. It's getting the real players, and it's legitimate. I mean, this is a legitimate, you know, multi-million-dollar multinational company that actually doesn't do any cannabis specific. Like, we don't grow any cannabis here. We make processing machines. This is an ancillary business, and there's a lot of them. I'm not the only one. There's a ton of them. All the support that's around
and
it.
Shovels.
But look at how much is around it. Like, I think people don't really understand how much there is around it. Look, every time you buy cannabis, it's in a package. There's machines that package that shit. You know, there's machines that weigh that shit. There's machines that put it in, you know, it's all done behind the scenes by companies who've been doing this for hundreds of years. You know, this industry has gone from being, you know, in my closet, in my Phototron, to legitimate real industry. It's real industry. And then, you know, not even talking about hemp yet, but like real industry. And that's what's exciting. And I think, to me, that's the big thing that I enjoy so much, because that level of legitimacy brings such intellect and such power. I mean, there's a lot of schmoozies and a lot of guys trying to just get money, but I think there's so much interest and so much positive going on in the industry, and it's gone are the days of hiding in the closets and trying to figure it out.
We've achieved that period of enlightenment in the Gartner hype cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. The prices, it was hype, then it dropped, and now it's finding its waterline, and now we're finding that. And the industry as a whole just needs to recognize that it either is a commodity or it is about to become one.
Yeah.
And
that's correct.
Gone are the days where you had to do everything.
Yeah.
You were the grower, you were the pheno selector.
Yeah.
You had to get your own nutrients or make them yourselves. You had to figure out how to irrigate your crop. You were going to use black box outside, or you were going to use some artificial illumination and turn some lamps on. Then you had to go, now you're human resources. You had to make sure nobody knew about what you were doing. And then you also had to be security. And then you had to be sales. Oh, no, sorry. Harvesting and distribution.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Don't forget the work.
Right, all the work that has to go into it. And then you have to cure it, and then you finally sell it, and then you have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
That changed with legalization to where it grew to the point where people could be specialists.
Yeah.
I don't need to think about the whole thing. Yeah. There's a reason why people go to school for human resources.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking hard work. Not a lot of people want to do it.
Yeah. But there's a career opportunity sitting there.
But you need that at your company, or someone's going to fall you.
Absolutely right.
Or someone's going to slap someone, or look at someone the wrong way, and there goes your company.
Well, let's talk about OSHA. Let's talk about safety. Let's talk about government regulation. This whole
For the record, he said OSHA. Anybody, Adam Dunn Show, don't fucking send me hate mail that I brought up. It wasn't me. It was him.
Hey, this is the reality of the life that we live now, and that's what a lot of people are having trouble adjusting to, that reality, which is normal business reality. And I think I find it fascinating that people are so resistant to it, but the reality is that's what's creating the whole levelization of things, right? That's how this whole business becomes normalized, becomes legitimate, it becomes accepted. You got to go all the way down the list. You got to pay your taxes. We got to get away from the fucking excise tax and all the bullshit taxes.
That's coming, I think. That's coming. Hopefully, no one will think of rescheduling. We want descheduling.
Yeah.
But banking is coming. It's all eventually going to be open to us. This is, I just think, unfortunately, we're now a political pawn that's going to be used to sway the outcome of 2020. And I think both sides
bounce back and forth until they.
Both sides think they're the ones that are going to be pulling it out of their hip pocket to be like, look, we're going to bring you weed.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I laughed about this too. Cuomo, as much as I think he did a very good job during the last year or so in regards to making communication important.
Yeah.
Lest he think his charges are going to go away because he legalized in New York, I would like to be the one to say, you're wrong. Thank you for doing the right thing on weed, but maybe you should have figured out you don't do that in the workplace to other people.
I mean, there are actual institutions that you can use for services around that. And a man of his
Las Vegas.
A man of his means,
right?
You would think he would have some sort of outlet, if you will.
Oh, going back to the Clinton Lewinsky thing.
Oh my God!
When I heard that was happening as a 21-year-old, I said, you mean not every president doesn't have a button they can push to get anything that clouds their judgment taken care of?
Yeah.
Do you want a sexually frustrated president when he's about to go talk to some world leader about de-escalating a conflict? You want them in an utter relaxed state. Okay,
preferably.
So that's the tangent there.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, I find that whole thing to be fascinating. You get these guys, and a lot of these guys hang and hide out behind, like you said. I mean, I'm not saying that that's why he did the legalization, but you can't help but think that there's some subterfuge or some idea that
I'm waiting to
it's
see
gonna
what
help
Matt
me.
Gaetz legalizes in
Yeah,
Florida.
right.
He's going to decriminalize drugs, everything,
Yeah.
brothels,
Yeah.
you name it. He's going to give,
Yeah.
it can't. It's got to just
I
do the right thing for the right reason, not because you were trying to make people forget that you're a douche. Uh-oh, we just hit the end of our time, ladies and gentlemen.
We did, kind of, sort of. Why it won't shut up, I don't know. That's the best part about this. The best part about my phone.
Perfect timing.
My phone timer is apparently that even if I have my phone on silent, it still works. That's
You're
great.
supposed to do it that way. Could you imagine setting your timer? And
Yeah.
I was going to wake you up for that flight,
I'm suing
but
somebody now.
right. Yeah.
Listen, I mean, honestly, we could go on forever. There's so much history in this industry, and I was talking to Lance. I think he was on the first one that we did, and there's so much cross. If you're in the industry, or if you've used cannabis in the past, you're kind of outside or close to the industry. But the chances are that you've run into or know a significant number of people who are here and doing business in this industry. And I always find that so fascinating, how these paths cross. I mean, I grew up in Colorado, ended up in California, but I run into people all the time, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know, I didn't have any idea that you were in this industry.
People joke, right? We're in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah.
So MJ BizCon's coming up in October.
Right.
Everyone's like, you know what? You don't even need to fucking go to MJ BizCon. You just stand out front, and it's the nexus point.
Yeah.
I'll do you one better. Southwest flights, Denver to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I have yet to not meet an industry person, I think in my last 40 flights.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
If it's not Hamilton Devices selling vape cartridges and everything to do with that, it was this flight out, the entire executive team, right? This is ancillary of Chiba Hut.
No shit.
The sub company.
Yeah.
And he sits next to me. I said, what do you, he said, what are you doing in Vegas? He says, work, pleasure. I said, I'm going to meet an industry person who is, if he doesn't realize it now, he's huge in manufacturing. And he's like, manufacturing what? I said, in the cannabis industry. He says, oh, I'm the chief operating officer of Chiba Hut. I said, oh, you're the cannabis-themed sub-company.
Yeah.
I said, come on. We're sitting next to each other on a flight.
Did you bring any subs back? Because they make a good sandwich.
He handed me 2 cards
Nice.
that give me a free sub, each one of them, so
great.
that's 2 free subs, and his business card, and I'm going to have him on the show.
Yeah.
Because
Perfect.
I'm thinking to myself, it's tough. We have an audience, right? So we'll get anywhere from 10 to 50,000 viewers per show. It's really dependent on the guest. So 50,000 is when Tommy Chong's on, or Ed Rosenthal, and it gets Montel Williams. It gets progressively lower if we're having just Dave and Adam talking. Nobody wants to hear what I have. But the growth, I lost my train of thought there. But the growth, I don't even know what I was saying.
We were talking about the Chiba Hut guys.
I said this is a way to bring our industries together, because all our fans can afford one of your subs.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to buy a $2,000 lamp for their building, or a CO2 extractor, or some of our other sponsors who are huge, right? You got to spend $500 at Build-A-Soil to get free shipping.
Yeah.
Not everybody is ordering $5,000 in these products, but $5 for a sub.
I could do that.
Absolutely, and
by
they're
the
everywhere.
way, they're a hell of a sub. I do appreciate their sandwiches. I've been there many times. I do like them.
Yeah, what's it like eating subs right now? See, I'm cooped up for the past 18 months, and now all of a sudden the fucking CDC makes an announcement, and I'm sitting in an enclosed room, maskless, because we've used the honor system that we're both vaccinated.
That's right.
I mean, I'm double Moderna now. I got my second Moderna on 4/2.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you have any issues with it? I've heard actually more than one. Actually, Lance had a little bit of trouble with it.
I don't want to say trouble. You know what?
Not trouble.
You know what?
Feel
I
good.
didn't get COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't get COVID. Whatever happened.
I actually had it at Thanksgiving.
I gotta go. Sorry, gotta go.
I had it at Thanksgiving, and I gotta tell you, I'm not necessarily. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever had, but I don't want to do it again.
You live in Vegas. You know?
Yeah.
So I've studied craps a little bit just to figure out odds, what bets to play if you're having fun, you're on a business thing, somebody's putting money in. You don't play prop bets.
Yeah.
Okay? And you certainly don't play the futures, which is like the replay or the all tall, whatever. Those, you only bet those if you want to throw your money away.
Right.
Because they're hundreds to one.
Right.
But they hit.
Yeah.
So let's just not forget, shit happens, right?
Does.
I don't want to be that guy because this is craps with COVID.
Yeah.
The house is COVID.
Yeah.
They're always going to win.
Yeah.
We just have to only play where we can only give them a 1.6% advantage.
Yeah.
Why do I want to play the one where roulette where he's got 4.9% on every throw?
Hey, there's a way to beat it. That's my game.
Oh, yeah, great.
I even the odds, man. I'm telling you.
So that's my odds maker.
52%.
I got the shot.
That's great.
I don't trust this honor system bullshit.
Yeah.
I think if you actually think that in today's day and age an election was stolen and it wasn't the Russians manipulating people, then I don't trust you to tell me if you were vaccinated. But that's a whole other show.
Well, you know what? The insanity lives out there. And there's all kinds of people who believe some really wacky shit. And the unfortunate thing, I think, right now, and I know we got to go, but I think what's killing me with this is like you have to dig. I don't care what political side or what your base beliefs are, because if you start the way the internet works, if you look up certain things and you follow certain stuff, you just keep getting fed your shit. You are just continually eating from your same fucking plate, and you're not going to get any smarter.
You know what I didn't get this last year? I didn't get polio either.
Yeah. You surely
didn't get measles.
No.
Didn't get the mumps. Didn't get rubella.
Well,
didn't get tetanus.
But you had those vaccinations a long time ago, right?
Oh, did I?
I don't.
Huh. Great. Could you imagine this conversation 100 fucking years ago with polio? And someone is saying, I don't want to give that.
Yeah.
I don't want to protect my child from possibly losing the ability to walk.
You know, it's. I mean, I think I grew up. I mean, I was a child during during the end of that, right? And polio was my grandparents were just fucking, because it was them, right? That was them, and they were just like scared to death of that shit because it was.
Took your kids.
Knocking people down. And not only knocking them down, put them in the iron lung. I mean, they weren't dying. They were having to be set,
That's why you had 10 kids turn of the century, 1900s, because 3/4 didn't live.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that's a whole other one. I got a shirt that says science doesn't care what you believe.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to wear it outside the house.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm like, even the button I gave you from Rick and Bob at Medically Correct that says I'm vaccinated, I'm thinking to myself, someone's going to punch me, someone's going to punch me, or it's going to go the other direction.
Yeah.
Someone's going to go, don't you think because you have that button that you're vaccinated, I want to see your card. Fuck you. If it is the honor system, how come walking through a casino, not half the people were wearing masks because we're only at half vaccination? It shouldn't have been me and 3 others. There's a disconnect.
No. We filter at the door. See?
Right.
We only let vaccinated
temperature
people
checks
through. Yeah, bullshit.
So what's basically going to happen in this country is going to get more divided, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the point. That's what they want. I mean, and I'm not conspiracy aside. Look, power and control, which is what most people. Who have been in that kind of space want. That's accomplished through this kind of disinformation, this fucking mass hysteria, this division shit. That's what it is. Because if the people of this country woke up and said, "Hey, fuck you, we're Americans.
Right.
We're Americans. That's what we are. We're fucking Americans, and fuck you. I'm not going to do that bullshit, and you're not going to tell me I'm not as good as that guy, because that's what we believe. We're Americans. That's but that's the deal. But we all got to do it." And you can't be lazy about it. But we're not all going to do it. Because I'm too busy worried about what you fucking think about something that I don't care about. Well, whatever, man. It fucking drives me nuts, man. I mean...
Our country right now actually think that liberal tree huggers are a greater threat to the, air quote, American way of life than Putin. Okay? They're wearing shirts
I know, but it's what's so crazy is that insanity lives on everywhere. There's people who just you can't get out. You can't have if we have a disagreement on something that's political, for instance, you can't really have a conversation any longer where you're able to actually have a conversation because it's confrontational. Mm-hmm. It has to be by the nature of the fact that I don't believe, and I'm not talking about the two of us, because still normal sane people can still do that. But in general, it's like you know they've got you in this box. Well, you believe that, so that means you believe all this other fucking bullshit. I'm like, whoa, time out. That's not necessarily true.
When the powers that be believe you're an idiot, they will feed you anything.
Yeah, and they
when
love it.
News organizations are editing out photos because Jeffrey Epstein was in that photo, but using... Come on. Who are we fucking kidding anymore?
Yeah. Planting stories, making shit up.
I want to be in the cannabis party.
Yeah.
I would love to see...
Have a cannabis party?
Well, pun intended. I would love to see someone run for serious political office on cannabis and every benefit that comes from it, not only for the environment, but for the tax base, for schools, education, right? Yeah. We are at this tipping point right now. Yeah. You know, it is so readily available in so many places. Yeah. And then your GPS tells you to take a turn and you didn't want to take that turn and now you're a criminal. Yeah. Simply for where you're standing. Yeah. I get back to what I opened the show with. Yeah. You know, if you're listening right now and you care about this industry, if you bought a product from this industry, if you've made money off this industry, look up the Last Prisoner Project. Yeah. And support them.
It's a great organization.
You don't necessarily have to write a check. Yeah. If you have a radio show, you could talk about them. Buy a T-shirt. Yeah. Do something. Make sure that if you're in a position where you're speaking with a politician, ask them what their views are on it. There's no need to, you don't have to be confrontational, but call them out on it. Yeah. Maybe it just took a little nudge of somebody asking them the question in the right forum to have them go, okay, well, I will grant that.
Well, I'd say, too, I mean, like as with every potentially controversial thing, I mean, don't be afraid to speak your mind. I mean, you don't have to be confrontational. I mean, it's important to be able to have a conversation. It's important to be able to have this conversation. It's important to be able to have a lot of other conversations that people think are taboo, but... it's not. This is still freedom. Mm-hmm. This is still the ability to say, well, for the most part, say what you want to say and believe what you want to believe. I mean, that's what I
smoked a plant while we were talking, and I was waiting for the door to get kicked in.
You know what didn't happen? Nobody came through the fucking ceiling and took you away.
That's funny you say that. My aunt and uncle were the first to get camped in 1985, or whatever it was. It was... Again, another story, but
my gosh.
Repelled from the helicopters.
Yeah, right. I was thinking of that. What's that kid's Monsters, Inc. 2319.
2319! Get up! That's exactly what it was like.
Fuck yeah.
They got 2319'd back in 1985.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That's crazy. Listen, man, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pleasure. We'll probably do this again.
Absolutely.
I can imagine.
Well, you're going to come on my show.
Yeah, for sure.
In a couple of weeks. We're actually going to be out at Colorado Area 420.
Okay.
Which is...
I need to come out anyway, so maybe I'll just fly out.
Yeah.
My attorney's there. I got business. I mean...
What do you use, Hoban?
What's that?
Shout out to Hoban Law Firm. Jeff Gard. Shout out to Jeff Gard Law Firm. Gard Law.
No, Pearl Street Legal, man. I've got to throw my guy in there.
Nice.
Up in Boulder, which is beautiful. I miss Boulder. I actually love it there. And I do love Colorado. I grew up there, if you don't know.
Nice.
Spent most of my formative years in the beautiful state
We'll
of Colorado.
welcome you back.
I know. Because I still wear the orange and blue. Because I am still a Bronco fan.
Nice. I see the football right here.
Yeah, my Elway signed ball.
I didn't renew my tickets in 2020 because literally they requested the first payment when the world broke.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you're asking me to give you $1,500?
Yeah.
When I don't even know if money's going to be money tomorrow?
Right.
And I just ignored everything. I didn't respond to any email when they said, hey, blah. I didn't. Because you know what I said to myself? they're just going to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
There's 30,000 of me that didn't know what to fucking say.
Didn't know what to do.
Waited for years to get season tickets. Don't want to say anything so that they move me to the top of the... And sure enough, I got an invoice saying to want to renew my tickets now.
Nice.
So I said, okay,
Now
I'll do it. Maybe I'll make the fucking playoffs. But I have season tickets, so come down and
Well, here's to the hope, which is probably completely illegitimate and never going to happen. Aaron, if you're out there, buddy, come aboard, baby.
Come on, baby. Hey, Aaron, listen to me for a second. Just us talking right now. No one's listening. Cannabis is legal.
Legal.
It's legal. It's legal. CBD is accepted by the NFL, and I bet you by 2022, cannabis is going to be a non-penalty fine.
Yeah,
you're just going to say you can't.
To see that. I mean, didn't know what basketball did that, right? Or I don't know.
I would love the discussion, and we need another 45 minutes of when they call it a performance-enhancing drug, and then forget it. You won't cannabis stocks. It's like Elon Musk dinging Bitcoin. Cannabis stocks are boom through the roof. As if they found that out. So,
that'd be great.
Another talk, another time.
Yeah. There's
all right, you'll be able to see Cullen on the Adam Dunn Show. You can go to Adam Dunn Show on YouTube.
Shameless.
We're on Connected. I have no shame.
Yeah.
Connected Networks. We're on the Hayes Radio Networks, which is putting on the Secret Hayes Cup in July, and we'll be presenting the award. You got to come.
Well, I'm going to be there. Yeah. We're working. Yeah, I'm on the Hayes, and so we work the other those guys too. Yeah.
And shout out to Brent at Apothecary Extracts, who will also be there presenting an award. So if you guys...
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. The secret is going to be fun. That's going to be an interesting deal.
Well, you know what I'm hoping is that...
Hopefully we're not spilling the secret.
No, I would like events like this to be more focused towards the local communities.
Yeah.
I'm really not looking to come to Las Vegas to judge an event where some douchebag drives in some California herb.
Yeah.
Not dinging California, but I go to California for California competitions.
Right.
I go to Oregon for Oregon competitions.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a snob, okay? The worst things you can be, but I
Listen,
like
I mean, I don't disagree because we're kind of a local kind of company. We totally agree. And there's a lot here. As interesting as the industry is here, there's a lot of richness to it. For as small as Vegas, let's be real, it's small, but there's a lot of richness to the cannabis industry here.
And I have an idea. I don't even want to give it away, but let's just say that I think there is a lot of benefit for being someone, and I've been accused of being that, who likes to think about where the industry is going to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think if you're thinking that way, then you're dropping the barriers that are up right now, and you're trying to take the crystal ball out and get positioned correctly, because we've had legal since 2009, since Holder gave it, so 11 years, 12 years, something like that, and we're still in the top half of the second?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Let's see what happens in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll see you
and
next
fade
time.
to black.
There you go. Snap it. We're out.
You'll have the production company edit it out.
Thank you guys for joining. That concludes our podcast for this week. Don't forget to check us out on all the socials at GreenBroz.